is the best background to choose in Starfield? This is a question I had to ask myself the moment I saw this screen, and now that I've put about 15 hours or so into the main game on very hard difficulty, I feel like I can give you a relatively apt description of that. So, to start, you're going to have to make the decision of, are you playing on very hard difficulty, or are you going to be playing on normal? Because there's a bit of a difference in what I would suggest picking in that case. Since I went on very hard difficulty, I valued Combat Medic exceptionally highly, because I'm playing a sort of industrialization, sort of colonize everything. I want to make a bunch of outposts and make an outpost guide eventually. So I knew I needed to build some kind of combat-ready sort of character that could take on most of the game. Of course, with very hard and the way Bethesda likes to scale things, I knew I was in for a bit of a difficult time. So medicine and wellness, giving you extra max HP and extra healing, was exceptional for early game combat and getting through the difficult parts. But the more I learned about the actual skill system, the more I realized I kind of made a mistake. Essentially, there is no level cap in Starfield, so it doesn't really make a big difference what you choose here. But to be entirely optimal and get to certain things earlier, there are specific classes that I would suggest picking. In the case of the playstyle I'm going for, which is to colonize planets, put down outposts, and what have you, I would highly suggest you go for either Homesteader or Industrialist. Industrialist, I'm going to say, is the best starting class across the board for either very hard or for normal. I think Industrialist is just the best by far, because the way the skills work in this game is you can't just pump a bunch of points into them. Each one has a challenge you have to complete before you can put rank 2 in, rank 3 in, and rank 4 in. Now, the reason I say to go for Industrialist is it has Persuasion, and if you're going to be playing a persuasive character, as I normally do, this is something I would suggest getting very early, because I'm not going to spoil anything, but there is a lot of persuasion checks you can do early in the game, and the challenge to get Persuasion level 2 is to achieve success in 3 speech checks, basically. Security is your lockpicking mechanism. It is a little bit tricky to figure out at the start, but give it a little bit and you'll eventually piece it together. I might make a guide on it if people really struggle with it, but this will give you access to advanced locks right off the bat, so you don't have to worry about that. And research methods, rank 1 is honestly insanely good. I didn't value this as high as I should have now. Essentially, what this does is you can research things to unlock other things. Everyone's going to have to engage with the research methods mechanic at some point, because it's how you get your weapon unlocks, your armor unlocks, your food unlocks, your spacesuit unlocks, you name it, you've got to research it, right? What methods lets you do is there's a chance you can have a research breakthrough. Certain things will cost less materials the higher research methods you have, but the breakthrough basically lets you skip the material cost altogether. So say you have to find this ultra rare material, and you go through and you put in all of the other materials, and you get a breakthrough, congratulations, you don't have to find it anymore, it just does it for you. It is absurdly powerful to take this option. So that's why I think Industrialist is by far the best, because you can get the persuasion challenges easily. Security, obviously, you'll be lockpicking everything, and research methods will set you up the best across the board. Alternatively, Homesteader is also another exceptional option, and I am going to give an honorable mention to Professor as well, because reason being is weightlifting gives you more carrying capacity, and surveying is so valuable in this game. I'm going to max my surveying immediately, because when you get to the point you unlock the scanner and you start surveying planets and scanning planets and what have you, then it gets so fucking annoying with the fact that your scanner only goes 10 meters, I think, so you have to be point blank to it. So imagine you have this massive dinosaur that you see exceptionally far away from you. You want to scan it, yeah, you have to be within 10 meters of it, so it's got to kind of be dead in front of you. So upgrading the surveying level is vastly recommended, especially early on, and if you want to chart a lot of the solar system, I would highly suggest it. Geology is going to give you extra minerals, but most importantly, this is going to give you 2 pieces in the science tree. That's why I also recommend Professor as a potential option, because this gives you research methods as well, but this gives you 3 things in the same tree. tree. So essentially, the way that the tree works is you get different rows of perks, and unlike in Fallout 4, where you can just pick whatever you have like a stat allocation for, they didn't do any stat allocations in this case. You have to unlock, or you have to spend points in the same tree. So to get to tier 2 of science, you have to spend 4 points in the science tree. If you pick professor, you already have 3 points in the science tree. And why do you want to go into the science tree? Well, you need it for weapon engineering and spacesuit engineering, otherwise you're not going to be able to upgrade your guns or your armor, and you're going to be fucked. So, that is my general suggestion for starting classes. Alternatively, one that I do want to mess around with is Bounty Hunter, just because the piloting systems are kind of cool. I'd also suggest picking up boost pack training relatively early on as one of your first investments, because there's some things in caves you just can't get to without having boost pack training, so I would recommend putting a point there early. But yeah, you can like take over ships and commandeer everything and do like a full Han Solo playthrough. I'm 100% going to do that at some point, but still. Quick little commentary on traits. The Dream Home is actually quite cool. It's honestly one of my favorite traits. I'll probably be taking it most playthroughs. The mortgage on it is only 500 credits, so it comes out to 2,000 a month, which is ironically about the same as what I'm paying for my current house, which is a little bit of a struggle, but still. And the rest of the traits are kind of meh. Extrovert is relatively good after you find a human companion. You're going to start off with a robot companion, then eventually get a human one, and this will allow you to sprint across planets so much easier. But, I mean, if you don't want to play with companions, that's perfectly fine. So this is good, but the other thing to note is that you can get rid of most of these. At least I found you can get rid of empath, which was the one that I went with. If you go to a doctor in one of the first cities, you can remove this for a set amount of credits if you're not a big fan of it. So you don't have to worry too much. And with these, I would suggest learning and going through a playthrough first to figure out which faction you genuinely like. And then the next playthrough, go through with the option for the faction you want to choose. But yeah, that is going to bring us to the end of this video. Let me know if you think I'm a complete moron. It's entirely possible. And games like this, I may not have the best of opinions, but I do my best to showcase what I've learned so far in the very, very early days of Starfield. Let me know what you guys went with and what you've come across in your adventures. Take care. One final thing for you, don't worry too much about not picking a combat class or having any of those options, because the second companion you get, even on very hard difficulty, will just fucking evaporate everything. This woman is insane.